Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again. A profoundly warm welcome back to our highly anticipated ongoing educational series dedicated to an essential deep dive into the bedrock principles and non-negotiable foundations of optimal nutrition. Today's session is particularly vital. We are moving far beyond the simple review of a basic vitamin. Instead, we are embarking on a critical, laser-focused exploration of a true biological powerhouse. A fundamental supplement whose stellar reputation already precedes it globally for achieving universal wellness. Certainly, but which we are about to reveal offers profoundly targeted, strategically nuanced, and, most importantly, often critically overlooked therapeutic advantages specifically engineered to dramatically optimize the complex health trajectories and sustained, lifelong vitality of women. We deeply and personally recognize the intense, unrelenting pressure faced by countless women navigating the complexities of modern existence today. So many are engaged in a constant, often emotionally and physically exhausting, years-long search to find that single, uncomplicated nutritional cornerstone, a kind of foundational, daily biological anchor that can be seamlessly, efficiently, and effortlessly woven into their relentlessly demanding, fast-paced, and multifaceted lives. The overarching goal, the silent, deeply personal aspiration behind this often desperate search, is always fundamentally the same: to restore a deep, primal level of physical and mental resilience, to meticulously optimize complex overall systemic function across all biological domains, and to gently yet decisively recalibrate the body's deeply intricate, often delicate, and sometimes shockingly volatile inherent equilibrium. The tremendously encouraging news, rigorously supported and robustly grounded in vast amounts of undeniable, peer-reviewed clinical evidence spanning multiple decades, confirms unequivocally that through the focused, strategic, and high-quality application of this singular, essential nutrient, we possess the demonstrated power to effectively confront, profoundly mitigate, and ultimately reverse an astonishing, interconnected array of insidious chronic health issues that regrettably and disproportionately lay claim to the female population. We are speaking here specifically of the persistent, destructive, and silent force of systemic chronic inflammation that relentlessly undermines virtually every biological system. The severe hormonal imbalances that routinely wreak absolute havoc, launching what often feels like a reign of terror on emotional stability and fundamental metabolic function. Frustratingly prolonged and resistant dermatological conditions that damage self-esteem, debilitating, unpredictable swings in mood, the constant, draining, and suffocating pressure of generalized anxiety that clouds daily life and paralyzes decision-making, and the heavy, pervasive shadow of clinical depression that saps all sense of vitality and future hope. With deliberate, strategic utilization and high-quality nutritional support from this highly specific nutrient, we sincerely hope and trust that, through the guiding force of providence and highly applied, rigorous science, these difficult, life-altering health struggles can be markedly brought under decisive professional control and substantially alleviated, leading inevitably and powerfully to a significantly higher quality of life, genuine and stable emotional equilibrium, and profound, enduring physical vitality that changes everything. Following the hugely successful conclusion of our previous informative segments, our communication channels have been genuinely flooded. A deluge of detailed, often heartbreaking, and sometimes desperate inquiries specifically from women reporting relentless, soul-draining chronic fatigue, persistent, inexplicable body weakness that makes daily tasks Herculean, strange and frequently baffling hormonal shifts that defy simple medical categorization, serious underlying thyroid concerns that evade simple pharmaceutical fixes, seemingly uncontrollable emotional volatility, and a host of other interconnected, often confusing health challenges that conventional modern medicine frequently struggles to accurately categorize or adequately address using standard protocols. Drawing deeply upon decades of rigorous, real-world clinical application and meticulously tracking the measurable, undeniable outcomes documented across thousands upon thousands of meticulously organized patient files, under our direct clinical supervision, the single nutritional component we are about to unveil has delivered comprehensive, reliable, predictable, and undeniable improvements to the health trajectory, sustained vitality, and overall well-being of literally thousands of women under our direct professional care. That phenomenal, universally foundational, and crucially indispensable nutritional supplement is none other than the magnificent biological trio known as omega-3 fatty acids. At this pivotal juncture, you might very reasonably be asking yourselves, perhaps with a touch of well-placed scientific skepticism, how could one single, relatively simple molecular compound possibly possess the structural power and biological complexity required to effectively address such a sprawling, structurally wide, and intricately complex spectrum of both deep physiological and challenging psychological health aspects? Over the strategic course of this critical presentation, we commit to delving deeply and systematically into the most authoritative medical literature and cutting-edge mainstream scientific research to clearly articulate and demystify the precise biological and cellular mechanisms through which omega-3s operate to resolve women's most distinct, intricate health issues, generating measurable, substantial, and truly sustainable transformation, starting right at the most fundamental cellular and even genetic level. To properly and constructively begin this crucial discussion, we must first initiate a brutally honest, evidence-based conversation centered squarely on contemporary Western dietary habits. Many individuals genuinely and sincerely believe they are meticulously adhering to an ultra-healthy, anti-inflammatory dietary regimen, one specifically rich in purported sources of omega-3 fats, such as chia seeds, flax seeds, various mixed nuts, almonds, and high-fat fish. The challenging and unavoidable clinical reality we face daily, however, is that despite consistent, even abundant, conscious consumption of these seemingly healthy foods, a vast, alarming number of people still demonstrably suffer from a dangerous and clinically measurable deficiency of active omega-3s, specifically failing to obtain sufficient quantities of the two most crucial and biologically active forms imperatively required by the human body: EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. Practical, day-to-day clinical experience overwhelmingly and repeatedly demonstrates that targeted, highly refined, and pharmaceutical-grade omega-3 supplementation offers absolutely crucial and indispensable support for those dealing with this stubborn and pervasive nutrient gap, allowing individuals to rapidly and reliably achieve the necessary, therapeutically effective nutrient saturation levels required to elicit true, measurable, and sustainable health change that cannot be achieved through diet alone. We will now proceed to systematically analyze each documented, evidence-based health benefit in detail, robustly supporting all our claims with specific, verifiable scientific data, while simultaneously providing precise, actionable guidance on the most effective, responsible methods for supplementation to ensure you capture the absolute maximum possible biological benefit from this critical intervention. Benefit number 1, significant and sustained reduction of systemic chronic inflammation. The primary, most foundational, and arguably most essential therapeutic effect of omega-3s is their profound, globally validated, and unparalleled capacity to mitigate, dampen, and decisively resolve systemic, low-grade inflammation throughout the entire physical architecture of the body. Persistent, underlying chronic inflammation, often rightly termed the insidious silent killer of modern health, is now globally recognized and medically accepted as the undeniable root cause and precursor for countless complicated, tenacious, and frequently confusing health issues that are disproportionately and frequently observed in women across virtually all age groups and life stages. To give clear, powerful, and illustrative examples of this destructive process, inflammation acts as the primary ignition switch and ongoing fuel source for debilitating thyroid conditions, such as the widespread crisis of hypothyroidism, complex and often life-altering autoimmune disorders, such as the pervasive Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and painful degenerative joint conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. Furthermore, unchecked, rampant systemic inflammation is the leading physiological mechanism that actively drives severe, disruptive chaos in the delicate endocrine system, catastrophically throwing the body's natural, rhythmic biological cycles out of crucial, essential sync and leading to pervasive hormonal misery. Supplementing consistently with therapeutically meaningful doses of omega-3s fundamentally shields, structurally protects, and biochemically stabilizes the body from the destructive, ongoing consequences of chronic inflammatory overload, making this nutrient absolutely essential for women currently managing any of the aforementioned inflammatory, hormonal, or autoimmune conditions. Science has unequivocally confirmed this connection beyond doubt. Inflammation is not merely a resulting side effect, but rather the underlying primary culprit in virtually all these pervasive health problems. By successfully targeting and drastically reducing the inflammatory load deep within the body, we effectively optimize the foundational process of disease prevention and profoundly accelerate natural healing mechanisms for superior, sustained long-term health outcomes. Encouragingly, rigorous scientific research consistently confirms that omega-3 fatty acids, particularly the highly active EPA and DHA fractions, possess the remarkable, non-pharmacological ability to swiftly suppress and actively resolve inflammation deep within the body's tissues. How exactly do they achieve this potent, complex mechanism of action? Scientists explain that omega-3s proactively and structurally interfere with the very production pathway of inflammatory molecules. For instance, they dramatically reduce the formation of aggressive inflammatory cytokines and prostaglandins, powerful chemical mediators that the body typically releases aggressively and in mass in response to acute injury, localized infection, or prolonged, unmanaged chronic stress. By successfully modulating and significantly decreasing the output of these potent inflammatory signaling molecules, EPA and DHA offer a natural, yet powerful and decisive method for extinguishing the inflammatory fire directly at its source, a capability validated across numerous respected scientific and clinical studies globally. Consequently, omega-3s deliver a superior, game-changing therapeutic advantage for women struggling with perpetual, systemic chronic inflammation. The second critical advantage, stabilizing emotional volatility and sustaining positive moods. Another widespread and deeply distressing psychological concern that dramatically and disproportionately impacts women is the prevalence of erratic, often debilitating, and seemingly uncontrollable mood fluctuations. This challenging psychological category includes generalized feelings of chronic restlessness, inexplicable and physically draining anxiety, a heavy, paralyzing sense of physical lethargy, continuous and exhausting nervous tension, clinical depression that feels structurally inescapable, or even the simple, nagging lack of interest and prolonged emotional apathy scientifically known as anhedonia. These sudden, disruptive, and often crippling mood shifts are invariably symptomatic of a fundamental, underlying disruption in the exquisitely sensitive equilibrium of crucial neurotransmitters, circulating both within the brain's complex architecture and, increasingly recognized as paramount, within the sophisticated enteric nervous system of the gut. These key signaling chemicals include dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. Maintaining the fragile, sensitive, and necessary balance of these chemical messengers is the absolute, non-negotiable key to sustaining a stable temperament, ensuring sharp mental clarity, and maintaining an overall positive, resilient, and proactive outlook on life. Omega-3 fatty acids are known structurally to profoundly enhance the optimal function of these essential neurotransmitters, primarily by fundamentally boosting the necessary fluidity, flexibility, and permeability of neuronal cell membranes, essentially making crucial brain communication pathways far more efficient and receptive to signaling. Crucially, they specifically help optimize the concentration, synthesis, and effective signaling capacity of two primary feel-good neurotransmitters profoundly associated with happiness, reward, and inner peace: dopamine and serotonin. When the levels of these vital substances are optimized through consistent, high-quality omega-3 intake, your baseline mood experiences a dramatic and measurable improvement, and feelings of underlying anxiety and chronic stress are substantially mitigated, enabling women to cope far more effectively and with greater psychological resilience when facing the inevitable daily pressures and relentless stressors of modern life. The third pivotal advantage: comprehensive hormonal support and restorative rebalancing. Hormonal dysregulation is arguably the most frequent, complex, and deeply significant health concern for women globally, profoundly affecting virtually all age groups, spanning robustly from teenagers navigating the turmoil of puberty and the start of cycles, to older women managing the intense, often uncomfortable shifts of perimenopause and the established changes of menopause. Hormone disruption is recognized as the core biochemical driver of frustrating menstrual cycle irregularities, complex and life-altering conditions like polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, critical fertility challenges, often devastatingly labeled as infertility, agonizing menstrual cramps and problematic heavy bleeding, medically termed menorrhagia, and pervasive underlying thyroid dysfunction. This pervasive, cyclical, and often painful condition touches nearly every woman at some significant point in her life's journey, disrupting work, relationships, and basic quality of life. In such complex, entrenched cases of endocrine disruption, strategic omega-3 supplementation has been powerfully demonstrated to significantly alleviate symptoms by helping to fine-tune, gently modulate, and sustainably guide the entire delicate endocrine system back toward its intrinsic, natural state of efficient balance. Rigorous, compelling research has unequivocally shown that omega-3 fatty acids can effectively lower the levels of specific, highly inflammatory prostaglandin-like substances circulating within the body. These particular prostaglandins are precisely the chemical signals that fuel severe menstrual issues, systemic chronic inflammation, and systemic endocrine disorders. When omega-3s successfully reduce the disruptive production of these harmful inflammatory mediators, the body's sensitive hormonal systems are re-established efficiently, gently, and, most importantly, sustainably, allowing for smoother cycles and clearer function. Moreover, women suffering from autoimmune thyroid diseases, a growing epidemic in industrialized nations, often receive remarkable, measurable structural support from consistent omega-3 intake. This nutrient actively helps improve overall cellular thyroid function and significantly enhances the body's essential ability to both synthesize and efficiently utilize necessary thyroid hormones, proving particularly valuable and therapeutic for those dealing with persistent autoimmune thyroid conditions, such as Hashimoto's. The fourth benefit: optimizing structural skin health and radiant appearance. Dermatological issues are a major preoccupation and persistent source of self-consciousness and frustration for many women, including relentless facial and body acne, premature wrinkle formation, noticeable and discouraging loss of dermal elasticity, chronic, inexplicable itching, and severe, stubborn, systemic skin dryness. Omega-3 fatty acids are a fundamental structural component critically required for building robust, healthy, and highly flexible cellular membranes, especially those found in the vast, protective network of skin cells that form our protective barrier. This means they play a vital, crucial role in decisively slowing down the inherent cellular aging process of the skin tissue itself. By significantly improving the integrity, deep hydration, and protective barrier function of these crucial skin cells, the overall complexion's health is dramatically enhanced, leading to greater natural radiance, superior moisture retention at the deepest cellular level, and noticeably increased elasticity and firmness that powerfully resists the effects of time and gravity. Furthermore, through its well-documented inflammation reduction and hormone balancing effects, omega-3 supplementation aids significantly in minimizing stubborn, cyclical, hormone-related acne issues. Beyond that, it crucially helps mitigate the chronic damage caused by pervasive ultraviolet, UV radiation from sun exposure, essentially acting as an intrinsic protective layer or internal sunscreen from the inside out, actively reinforcing the skin's natural barrier function against environmental insult. Thus, omega-3s offer tremendous, holistic dermatological benefits not just specifically for women, but for achieving optimal, age-defying skin health for men as well. The fifth benefit: enhancing hair development and noticeable thickness. Many women harbor deep concern and often anxiety about the state of their hair and scalp, issues which frequently include extensive, concerning chronic hair shedding, telogen effluvium, or other hair loss types, weak and brittle strands that break easily, the loss of natural sheen and vitality, and underlying scalp issues like chronic seborrheic dermatitis that actively inhibit healthy, sustained hair growth cycles. When strategically incorporating therapeutic levels of omega-3s, inflammation concentrated critically around the hair follicles, the very mechanism responsible for many types of persistent hair loss, is significantly reduced and controlled. This reduction actively stimulates the crucial anagen growth phase, results in visibly thicker and fuller hair over time, minimizes shedding dramatically, and comprehensively improves the overall health and supportive structure of the scalp and individual hair strands. Omega-3s internally hydrate the scalp and structurally reinforce the hair shaft's essential internal structure from the root right to the tip. Therefore, for effective, natural, and lasting hair care and genuine rejuvenation, omega-3 supplementation proves to be an indispensable and highly strategic nutritional choice. The sixth critical benefit of omega-3s centers on the cardiovascular system, an aspect of paramount and undeniable importance for both men and women across the lifespan, but particularly critical and non-negotiable for women as they gracefully navigate the aging process. We have previously discussed in depth how crucial omega-3s are for the optimal function, sustained resilience, and structural integrity of the heart, muscle itself, and the entire vast vascular network. Omega-3s provide robust, multifaceted cardiovascular support by effectively reducing detrimental levels of circulating LDL, low-density lipoprotein, cholesterol, and aiding significantly in the maintenance and regulation of stable, healthy blood pressure levels. They also work powerfully to actively reduce underlying inflammation within the arterial walls, thereby preventing the crucial onset and progression of atherosclerosis, the potentially deadly hardening of the arteries, and optimizing overall systemic blood circulation, collectively boosting comprehensive cardiac health and promoting longevity. For this critical reason, supplementing proactively with omega-3 fatty acids yields immense preventive and life-extending benefits for women, particularly those approaching or past the age of 40, where cardiovascular risk factors begin to climb substantially and rapidly following the natural hormonal withdrawal of perimenopause and menopause. Omega-3s are not merely a single benefit compound. They offer profound, holistic, systemic improvement across multiple interwoven health parameters, fundamentally linked to the dual threats of chronic inflammation and cellular degeneration. How to effectively supplement with omega-3s to achieve clinical results? The crucial million-dollar question remains central to this discussion. How can you definitively ensure your body receives the necessary, biologically effective therapeutic dose of active omega-3 fatty acids? Is reliance on a standard diet truly sufficient for this vital health goal? Let's first carefully examine common plant-based sources of omega-3. Many dietary proponents, particularly those in the vegan and vegetarian communities, suggest that common seeds like chia, flax, almonds, and walnuts contain high levels of omega-3. While they structurally do contain omega-3s, it is absolutely vital to understand the crucial biological and chemical distinctions between the different molecular forms. There are three primary types we discuss: ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, EPA, and DHA. Studies clearly and consistently indicate that EPA and DHA are the two specific fatty acids that deliver the greatest physiological health benefits and possess the highest biological activity and bioavailability within the human body, whereas ALA offers significantly reduced, limited efficacy. Plant-based sources of omega-3, often favored heavily by vegans or vegetarians, predominantly contain ALA, with very negligible amounts of preformed, biologically active EPA or DHA. This is precisely why the received health benefits from relying solely on plant sources are often limited and disappointing, as the body must inefficiently and painstakingly convert ALA into the active, usable forms of EPA and DHA, highly demanding metabolic process scientifically known to be exceedingly inefficient and genetically variable across the population. Another significant, often overlooked factor to consider is the common occurrence of genetic variations, or single nucleotide polymorphisms, SNPs, that severely impair an individual's innate ability to efficiently convert ALA into usable EPA and DHA, effectively creating a substantial metabolic bottleneck. Therefore, if you consume seemingly abundant plant-based omega-3 sources, but observe little to no measurable improvement in your crucial health metrics, such as reduced inflammation or improved mood, it is a very strong and reliable physiological signal that you are likely not successfully absorbing sufficient levels of the active EPA and DHA forms required for genuine, tangible biological change. Secondly, let's address animal sources of omega-3, specifically various types of fish. The core challenge here is twofold. First, the immense natural variety of fish globally means some are exceptionally rich in omega-3, such as wild salmon and small sardines, while others contain very little to none. A far greater and more pressing environmental and health concern is that the fish naturally richest in omega-3 often inherently carry a higher, unavoidable risk of accumulating harmful mercury or other fat-soluble environmental pollutants like PCBs. Mercury in particular poses significant, well-documented health risks, especially for women who are pregnant or nursing, requiring extreme caution and limiting intake. Furthermore, to reliably guarantee adequate, consistently therapeutic levels of omega-3 from fish alone, one would typically need to consume substantial quantities of fatty fish at least 3 to 4 times every single week, an expensive and logistically complicated task for most. Consequently, utilizing omega-3 in a high-quality, scientifically controlled, and molecularly distilled supplemental form becomes a practical, health-critical necessity, as it is nearly impossible for the vast majority of people to reliably achieve the required therapeutic dosages solely through inconsistent, varied dietary intake to unlock optimal, measurable health benefits. What is the precise, effective omega-3 dosage you should be aiming for to see significant, undeniable results? The optimal therapeutic dosage required to elicit true biological effects, particularly in reducing inflammation and successfully supporting hormone regulation, must be a combined total of at least 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of active EPA and DHA per day. However, there are two major and very common pitfalls when navigating the complex, often misleading supplement marketplace. The first issue is that manufacturers frequently fail to clearly and transparently denote the exact amounts of EPA and DHA individually. The product label often misleadingly states only total omega-3 fatty acids, 1,000 milligrams. But what we absolutely require for clinical efficacy is a specific, isolated combined total of active EPA and DHA that falls demonstrably within that crucial 1,000 to 2,000 milligram range. The second critical problem is that even if the label explicitly lists a total of 1,000 milligrams of omega-3s, the actual concentration of active EPA and DHA might be deceptively low. For example, only 300 milligrams active, with the remainder consisting of less potent or inert fatty acids used as filler. Therefore, when shopping and investing in your health, you must meticulously scrutinize the product label and ensure that the isolated combined quantity of EPA and DHA reaches the 1,000 to 2,000 milligram benchmark. This specific concentration factor, the active dose, is the crucial determinant of the product's true efficacy, biological value, and ultimate cost-effectiveness. By now, we sincerely trust you should possess a clear, comprehensive, and scientifically informed understanding of the profound importance and deep-reaching benefits of strategic omega-3 supplementation, specifically tailored for women's intricate health needs, along with the precise, actionable knowledge required of how to utilize this essential nutrient intelligently to maximize its health benefits, initiating measurable, lasting change, starting right at the fundamental cellular level. Thank you sincerely for joining us for this crucial, illuminating discussion and for visiting our channel today. We genuinely hope that the detailed scientific information shared has equipped you with valuable, actionable knowledge for significantly enhancing the health of both yourself and the cherished loved ones in your life. If you found this content helpful and illuminating, providing clarity on a complex and vital subject, please take a moment right now to hit the like button and share this essential video with others who may profoundly benefit from this life-changing information. And please remember to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our crucial upcoming health videos, which are dedicated entirely to empowering your well-being, longevity, and quality of life. We look forward to seeing you in our next program. Goodbye, and stay exceptionally well.